Hey, do you ever feel like you want the depth of spirituality, but religion just doesn't fit? And even within the spiritual culture or the culture of spirituality, you feel like there's a lack of authenticity sometimes. You feel like you can't really quite connect. You feel like there's a layer of superficiality that it kind of doesn't go beyond. Well, if you ever feel that way, just know you're not alone. I'm Hagar. Welcome to Mama Mandala. And I want to explore with you the concept of sacred secularism because, in a way, we need to break the divide between the sacred and the secular. Because you can be a spiritual atheist and still live a meaningful life that is saturated and rooted in the holiness of life itself. And even beyond just life itself, with a depth that comes with relationship with ritual and ceremonial work. And there's this divide that we see in the world today because the culture today is very much binary in its thinking. In a way, sacred secularism allows us to embrace paradoxes, and it roots us not in belief but in openness. You know, I have this thing. Sometimes people have asked me, "Well, what do you believe in?" And my answer is like, I don't really believe in anything. Of course, I believe in things because we all believe in things. It would be really kind of full of bullshit to say I don't believe in anything. But I'm open to things. I don't know what this universe is, right? I know aspects of it. I see certain things. I've learned certain things, but I don't know the vastness of it. I don't know the answers, right? So if somebody says, "Well, can you prove that there's no God?" No, I can't prove that. That's the beauty. Sacred secularism is an invitation to live with the questions instead of looking for the answers. So while it feels sometimes, if you're like me and you really seek sacred experiences, like I have an altar behind me. I chant mantras, I do mudras, I do yoga, and it's not a religious practice for me, but it certainly connects me very deeply to something that's greater than me. To It's not my personal bloodline ancestry, but there's something there that is ancient and but it lives inside of me. The archetypes, the stories, the mythology of yoga lives in my body. And when I practice it, I tap into it. When I move my body with my breath, I connect to this part of me, to this part of more than me, right? Does that make sense? So this is one of the reasons why I feel so honored to take the seat of a yoga teacher, because I don't just teach, I don't just come to yoga, I don't just study yoga in that way that so much of the West today practices just asana. I've seen signs. I live in Los Angeles, and I've seen signs outside of yoga studios saying athletic yoga studio. So this is really interesting, and there's no problem with it. But of course, then it's an exercise class. And what about that is yoga? And that's again not a place where I'm looking for an answer, but a place where I would like to question. I would like to bring us to this place where we can question things without looking for what the answer is, and question things in a way that perhaps in most cases, except for extreme cases, still show up with respect, right, to another way of being. Because in some way, this is the point for me of one of the points of sacred secularism, is that there's no one way. There are infinite ways within this broad concept and this broad idea and this paradox that connects us to things that conflict and contradict each other, right? If there's a conflict and a contradiction, then then there's no one answer. Then there's a grappling. Then there's a contemplation. Then there's something that we can sit with, and perhaps it's not the most comfortable thing, right? The dichotomy is not exactly the most comfortable thing, but it makes you feel and think, and it makes our creativity spark, right? So on the one hand, we have the athleticism of yoga, but on the other hand, yoga as a spirituality has its own issues. There are teachings out there that limit. They say that yoga is a connection. It's a unity with the universe, with the infinite, with the divine, with whatever you want to name it, right? But this is how you do it, right? This is the path to do it. This is what it is. This is what the vastness means. And then the definitions, which are important. Definitions are really important. We don't throw them away. We gotta have them, right? We gotta have names and forms and definitions to things in order to understand the world, in order to experience ourselves in the world. But this dogmatic way of being has its own set of issues, right? So as a yogi, as a yogi and a yoga teacher, I always live with that dichotomy. I am a spiritual seeker in a way, but what I'm seeking is not the answer. I am sharing physical knowledge and anatomical knowledge and physical actions for people to do, and things for them, poses for them, movement for them to do in their bodies. But I'm not an exercise teacher, right? So this is just one example. Another example of this paradox. So many years ago, before I got pregnant with my second child, I felt this deep pull, this call that I just couldn't ignore, to do to be on the path of the priestess, to take a priestess training. And it felt like a life-shattering period before I signed up for it, because I felt like, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm an atheist. I don't do priestess. But man, I felt the call, and it was so deep and intense, and I couldn't not do it. I couldn't not become a fucking priestess. I'm a witch. I couldn't ignore it, right? But there was this, and there still is always for me, this whimsical experience within that, because it feels very authentic, because I have to do it, but it's also questioning the authenticity within it, because if I don't believe in it, if it doesn't come from this place of faith, who am I to do it, right? But the point for me was and still is and always is, that I don't have to have an answer, that I don't have to solve the problem. Oh, now I'm a priestess, so I have to believe in this whole set of things. What if the practices themselves, the rituals, the connection to nature, the relationship with the seasons, with the cycles of the earth, with the phases of the moon, creates this deep experience for me that I have to give room for, because I'm a mythologist, because I feel this deep rootedness in magic, even though there's this part of me that looks at myself and go, magic? You believe in magic? And then there's this other part of me that has to say, I don't believe in it, but I'm open to it. I feel it. It feels very real, but also in a whimsical way, because it's not rooted in magical thinking. It's nuanced and woven with metaphor, with mythology, because archetypes are a deeply ancient and powerful way for humans to understand themselves and one another, right? And now we kind of hit that place where I'm not a psychologist, but it hits the place where spirituality and psychology and somatic practices and experiences are all intertwined, and they overlap, and they're interwoven, right? And that makes uh, someone who feels like they're an atheist have the possibility of leaning into their spirituality, because there is something very deeply spiritual with life itself. I mean, it's incredible that it doesn't have to be anything beyond the actual facts that we know about the world. You breathe in, and the power of the plant world moves into your body. The world that surrounds you intermingles with what's inside your body, with your lungs, and through that with your heart, and through that with your blood, and all over the body. You get the plant world nourishing you. And when you breathe out, you nourish it back. And this exchange is sacred. And it's sacred whether you believe in something other than what is here or not, right? So the sacredness is not separate from this. I always think of when I die, nobody knows what's going to happen. So not believing or yes believing, it doesn't really matter. But what we do know is that our bodies are going to decompose, right? We know that when the breath leaves our body for the last time, we are no longer going to be the person that we were when the breath moved through us. And then our bodies will start to break down and decompose. And then it will start to, as it falls apart, to become other things. It becomes nourishment for the worms, and therefore for the plants, and therefore you feed the mycelium, you feed the roots of trees, you feed the birds because the birds eat the worms. You become food, and through that you become everything else, right? So you don't have to believe, oh, my soul is going through this. You absolutely can, but you don't have to. If you feel like that's not the place where your heart, mind, body, spirit, creativity lives, there are ways for you to still live in relationship to life as a sacred experience, even if you don't have faith in anything, right? Because the beauty of doubt and of questioning and of not knowing is that it keeps us opening. And this kind of openness where you ask the question and you can wait for the answer, and maybe an answer will come, and maybe many answers will come, and maybe no answer will come. The beauty of questioning is that it keeps us open. So if we close it with just one clear answer, we sometimes close off possibilities. And that doesn't mean that we don't have to, make a decision, make a choice. What's the right answer? We don't know what the right answer. Sometimes you listen. So here's another thing. I am an atheist, and I am a spiritual person, and I am secular, but I feel this incredible pull toward tarot and astrology. So, it speaks to me. And maybe it's just the archetypes really are in the creative, artistic way that humans work. It speaks to me. It doesn't have to be, I got the sign from some higher power. If I pick a card and the image speaks to me, then amazing, right? Then it helps me. It helps me make a decision, or helps me see something I didn't see. We don't have to get so caught in it being real or not real. Do you believe or you don't believe? We can keep ourselves open. And this is, for me, what sacred secularism really invites us into this receptivity. And receptivity might be a very deeply meaningful practice, gift, way of being right now in the world, because the world right now is so there's a lot of problems, right? Can we agree on that? There's a lot of problems, there's a lot of issues. The kind of certainty that we're seeing in the world has given us authoritarianism, right? So the receptivity of not knowing, which is not necessarily the most comfortable, gives us a way to be more in touch with deeper parts of ourselves and of the world around us, right? And you can do rituals. You can engage in rituals in a really meaningful way without belief. Again, I just gave you the example of picking a tarot card. I don't care that it's not, that it doesn't sit with, that it doesn't sit well with the idea of me being a more secular atheist, kind of edgy person that doesn't believe in things. I don't care. It works for me. So I'm going to pick a card. I'm going to look at it, and it's going to give me a way to connect to life in deeply meaningful ways, right? So that's one way. Just sitting with your breath is a deeply meaningful ritual, and it's somatic work, and it's a meditative practice. It's ancient, and it's relevant for today. Just sitting with your breath every day for a few moments. That's a deeply sacred ritual, right? Lighting a candle can be this moment for yourself where you light the candle and you have an intention inside your heart, and you go, with this candle I light, let's say, a part of you that you want to ignite, that you want to connect. And maybe this particular candle is the candle that you light every day for 9 days or 108 days or whatever you want to, however many days you decide. You light this part of yourself, and you call on this part of yourself to help you through the day, or to help you through something, or to help you create something, or whatever it is, whatever the reason is why you want that part of you to be ignited. You can ignite it with a candle, right? So it's, you're creating a relationship of commitment. It's not in the faith. It's not like you're praying for this part of yourself to achieve this other thing or to get you this other thing, but it's you're collaborating with aspects of yourself in order to bring to life, in order to work with life, bring to life something that you feel is needed or that you want to give expression to, and work with life in a way of meaning and depth, right? Here's a little something for you. So next time you make a meal, you can take one deep breath in to let in, to receive the natural world, and a slow breath out to know that you are participating, that you are giving back. And then envision, think about, contemplate, however you want to go through it in your mind, heart, body, all the things that gave this food that you're about to make, these vegetables that you're about to chop. Maybe I'm vegan, but maybe you're not. So this animal that you're going to, this animal parts that you're going to prepare, whatever it is that you're preparing, what gave it life? And it's the sun, and it's the darkness, it's the phases of the moon, it's nighttime, it's daytime, it's the soil, it's the people that help grow the food, it's the people that help bring it to the farmer's market, it's the people that sold it to you at the farmer's market, right? It's all the stuff, and there's so many more things, right, like that we don't think about, and it's just a quick contemplation. And then this is a ritual before preparing food, so that you have a relationship with the food that you're making, and it's a little bit deeper, and it makes it a little bit more meaningful, right? So any and all things that we do that help create a deeper relationship with a thing that is mundane is a ritual that can enrich our lives and give the secular a sacred sentiment. There was a lot of S's. I love snakes, so it's perfect, that little serpentine sound. So I hope this is interesting for you, intriguing, interesting. If you are, if you're kind of in that place of questioning and you don't quite know why you're attracted to witchcraft or why you're attracted to meditation, and it just all feels a little crunchy, then this is great. This is for you to welcome yourself in your paradox. Being human, being alive, being in this universe requires paradoxes. We are all made of paradoxes. So check out the essay that I wrote about this. It goes in a few different directions. It gives a few other examples. I think you're going to find it really interesting. I'm going to leave a link for you in the description of the video. It's on my website, mamamandala.com. And subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed to it, because let's do more of this. Deeper contemplations and conversations about the dichotomies and the mythologies and the paradoxes and the complexities and the gift of being a ritualistic ceremonial atheist, right? Let's keep going. So subscribe to this channel. More practices are also going to come soon. Physical practice, yoga practices, meditation, and also subscribe to my Substack over on Substack. I will leave a link for you in this description of this video as well, and to my mailing list. I would love to stay in touch with you, and I can't wait to see you again soon. So thank you so much, and put a like on this video if you liked it, share it with your people, and I will see you soon. Thank you.